Will US President Donald Trump's Twitter diplomacy help sway the oil market? That's what we're here to find out on today's edition of Inside AB. I'm Jeremy Lawrence, joined here in the studio by Eddie Taylor. So, Eddie, Donald Trump, he's been talking to Twitter again. Well, he's talking every day on Twitter, but this time it's about oil. What's he been saying?
Yeah, there's been a couple of tweets that he sent out that had a quite clear agenda, I think. The first one was about 10 days ago when he said rather cryptically that he'd agreed with Saudi Arabia that they were going to increase their oil production by 2 million barrels of oil per day. That was quickly walked back by people in the White House and in the Department of Energy and by Saudi Arabia themselves. And then he came out again about a week after that, sort of insisting that OPEC, which he'd called a monopoly, increase its oil production. So there's this kind of diplomacy on Twitter, if you like, where Trump is asking the oil-producing countries to ramp up their production.
Is there any truth to them promising to raise output like that?
It doesn't seem to be, no. I mean, where the figure came from seems to be about the OPEC agreement, right? So where we have 4 countries that have excess capacity, and they're the countries that are able to put oil production back to where it was before the recent pullbacks in 2017.
Yeah. They
are the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia's excess production is 2 million barrels of oil a day, 2.1. So that's their maximum potential. Now, it's very unlikely that they would do that because it gives them no room to maneuver should other geopolitical events come into effect. So that's Saudi Arabia's maximum potential production, but it seems unlikely they're ever going to move that far.
Right, so if that's the case, what's Trump's goal here?
Trump's goal is very, very clear, and it's clearly domestic politics at play here. He doesn't want oil prices to climb because that's going to threaten to slow down the US economy. And perhaps more pertinently, we're coming into what's known as the US driving season, which is the American summer holidays, where everyone gets in their car and drives somewhere else. And traditionally, that's inflationary for the gas price market, the oil price market. So Trump doesn't want his base, his consumers paying more at the petrol pump at the busiest time of the year. And he's got the US midterm elections coming up, and he doesn't want his base kind of being deterred or put off in that way. So it's kind of all about domestic policy, really.
Right, so he's trying to influence production or price, but OPEC's had their meeting, haven't they?
Yeah, they had their meeting at the back end of July. The trouble with that was that they all agreed to an increase in production, but the trouble was that wasn't actually articulated in any clear way. So you've got a massive divergence of opinion on what that increase means. So to look at a couple of the figures, Saudi Arabia and Russia came out of that meeting saying that they could increase production by 1 million barrels of oil a day, whereas Iran said it was actually really about 500,000. Nigeria then said it was around 700,000. So there's a massive discrepancy in what they think the increased production means, and that's having a massive sort of effect on the volatility of the oil market. You know, some days it's kind of quite low and it's kind of being brought down. Then we see wild swings up. And we've actually just come through a period where it's topped $75 a barrel for the first time in a while. So it's really, really choppy for the oil markets. And again, that's what Trump is reacting against. He feels there's an opportunity there to get a set figure on what the production should be to bring the oil market and the oil prices down.
Right. Any chance he can get his way?
There's a small chance, and that's mainly because a lot of the oil experts and the oil analysts are seeing that the Trump-Saudi alliance, or that nexus, is really going to be the key thing that's going to be driving the market. It's going to be dictating the oil market. So a lot of the experts see that sort of there'll be a little bit of market management, as they call it, going on, and that Saudi and America are going to be at the heart of that. So there is a chance that Saudi Arabia will quietly push up their production. But what can be said is that coming out and saying X has agreed to a figure that isn't reasonable or practical isn't going to do anybody any good because it's simply an impossible goal. So I think that he will get an element of increase in production, but it won't be anything like 2 million barrels a day because he simply can't agree to that figure.
Okay, Eddie, thanks for running us through those numbers. You've been watching Inside AB. Please do join us every weekday at 10 a.m. and subscribe, comment and share as usual. We'll see you next time. Bye.